You are listening to the Maple Footy Podcast. This is the unofficial football podcast of the North. I'm your host, Sam Little. Find me at official Sam Little on Instagram. There's nothing left to say except for sit back, enjoy, and welcome to the show.
Hello and welcome back to the Maple Footy Podcast, the unofficial football podcast of the North, with me, Sam Little. And yeah, Tuesday night, what were you doing? I was watching the Canada-Peru game. It was not the most entertaining game I've ever watched in my life, but we did get the 3 points, and it is a massive job well done for our Canadian men's national team, as is the first win in Copa America for us. Obviously, that 1-0 against Peru with a goal from Jonathan David. It wasn't pretty, and it wasn't anywhere near great, or I would even venture to say a good performance, and we got the win, and that's what we wanted in the end. So we're going to break it down, overview, positives, negatives, then move on to player by player, and just my general thoughts sprinkled in as well for good measure. So what do you say we start? You good? I'm good. You locked in? I'm always locked in, so let's go. First, start positive because we're Canadian, so we want to be nice, obviously. Got to live up to that Canadian expectation since we are talking about the Canadian men's national team here. The biggest positive, of course, is that we did win 1-0. I said last time in my previous podcast that I wanted it to be convincing with a great performance and also get the win. But the most important part is the win. We definitely rode our luck for sure, and our keeper bailed us out, but we got the win, and it's crucial heading into our final match against Chile in the group. We'll have to perform a lot better, I feel, as though Chile will be hungry for this, knowing that the Copa America hangs in the balance. And they are going to need to capitalize on their chances, so I think it could be very dangerous for our boys. Chile are sitting on 0 goals, so maybe that bodes well for us. I don't know. But they have the quality to make us pay for sure. Our next positive is obviously Max Crepeau. What a performance again from our new number 1. A crucial save in the first half and one in the dying minutes of the second to ensure we get our 3 points, and he gets a well-earned and deserved clean sheet. Away from his performance, he was also first to ensure the safety of the linesman who collapsed early in the second half, I believe it was. And yeah, just what a player and what a man. Oozes class on and off the pitch. Great to have a guy like that with the boys and in and around this team, showing everyone what a leader is. And just take a bow, Max Crepeau. So moving on to our negatives, because not everything about Canadians is nice, guys, because I'm about to hit some negatives on us. Uh-oh. Sorry, I'm just having fun here, Let's all have some fun, put a smile on our faces, You know how it is. So our first negative is just her overall style of play. I didn't find it was great. I really wanted, and I think a majority of Canadians wanted a win with a convincing performance, and we didn't get that. We got what was a very defensive-minded performance, and we looked too scared to push up. It felt like we were honestly giving Peru a bit too much respect. Against Argentina, I understand it, as they are the world champs and the defending champs of this competition. But Peru is a pretty level playing field for us, so I don't know why we treated them like they were in Argentina. We were affording Peru too much time on the ball and allowing them to control the game and the tempo and strike whenever they wanted to. They manipulated the play. It was really a lot of them, if we're being honest here. They just couldn't capitalize their chances, but they definitely fired a few warning shots, an offside goal in the first half, and another strike where our defense was nowhere to be found down our right flank, Peru's left. And I think it's concerning that we only really started to push when the red card was brandished to Peru, of which they definitely should have had another red card. While we're talking about red cards, you can't ever headbutt a player. So I'm not sure how. I believe it was Lopez headbutted Alistair Johnston. I mean, it's Copa America, so this is kind of normal, but Yeah, I'm not sure how that's just not given as a red card. But anyways, yeah, they were a lot better in the first half, and they were just totally suffocating us, and we couldn't do a whole ton with the ball creatively. And I will say it again, we miss a player like Junior Hoylett. We lack that creative spark at times, and he is a guy that can pick the lock, and we just don't have another player in the squad at this moment in time that can do that, in my opinion, to the way that he does it. We have talented players, we have creative players, but no one like him. And I think we're suffering from it just a little bit. We also looked pretty careless in possession anytime we could get the ball, and especially in the first half and a good few times in the second. David, Estacio, Kone, Laren, Davies, probably even more of them, all couldn't hold on to the ball in the first half especially. Definitely got caught in the second, but not as much I found. We looked a bit more open thanks to the red card and the substitutions, so we were allowed to kind of be more expansive. But against a team like Chile, we're going to have to be a lot better in possession, because that is what bites you, is if you're careless on the ball, you're going to get punished in a competition like this. Now, moving on to player by player, definitely not a ton of phenomenal performances here, but there's still a little bit to talk about. Obviously, we already covered Crepeau, so I'm just going to say he's our player of the tournament. He just is. That is either good or bad. You can decide on if our goalkeeper being our player of the tournament is a good sign or a bad sign. He has saved us so much, and without him, I have no clue where we'd be. We'd definitely be on 0 points and probably with a goal difference of -7. Probably, if we're being honest here. So definitely, everybody thank Max Crepeau just whenever you can. Just maybe before you go to bed, or if you happen to see him on the street, just say thanks from me and your friends at the Maple Footy podcast. And so looking at our defense, Alistair Johnston, once again, kind of similar to his last few performances under Marsh, I don't feel like we're seeing the best of him. He was caught up defensively and poor in positioning a couple of times. And that chance I was kind of mentioned earlier when Peru killed us on their left flank, our right flank in the box, I don't know what he was doing. He just was so close to Bombito. I don't know if he wanted to ask him how he was doing, how his day was, or like he just looked pretty clueless, and that's pretty uncharacteristic of Alistair Johnston. He's usually one of our best, if not our best defender. Anybody who's listened knows I have nothing but praise for Johnston. But yeah, just under Marsh, I don't know if it's a new style. I don't know if he's not fully comfortable just yet. I really don't know what it is. But yeah, just he needs to kind of, I think, improve him fast, because we are going to be playing Chile, and we all know there's a quality player in there. He is one of our best performers of the last, probably 4 years since he broke out in the scene, So I'm not saying, give up on Johnston. Absolutely not. He's phenomenal. But yeah, just some subpar performances as of late. He was pretty good against Argentina, decent against France. I didn't think he was great against Netherlands. So not the typical kind of bar that you expect from Johnston. His distribution, of course, is still class. He got the ball in behind Peru's defense a few times. So obviously very good on him. And now looking at our center backs, we got Bombito and Cornelius. And I will say this is probably the first time where they've looked a little bit disappointing, in my opinion. They didn't look like the two solid center backs that we've been seeing. Like I don't know if it was the occasion. I don't know if we were giving Peru too much respect. I have no idea. But they just didn't look that same level as they usually do. So Cornelius is who we're going to start off with. I think he was decent, not great. It felt like he couldn't get close to his man, wasn't winning the ball back a ton, and didn't cut out many crosses. Yeah, it just wasn't his best performance. He was subbed off at half, but I do still expect him to be at the starting 11 next game. He is obviously still been one of our best performers under Marsh. So maybe it was just an off half for him. And then his partner, Bombito, once again, the man is linked with a move to Lyon. He was one of the best center backs on the pitch. I actually thought he was probably the best center back on the pitch. It once again still wasn't his best performance, but I think it was good. And in the second half, I think he kind of calmed down a little bit. He had some big interventions, and I'm just praying this Lyon move goes through for him. We'll need a big performance from him and the whole back line next time out. And looking at Alphonso Davies, who I wouldn't really say was playing at left back, but he was listed as a left back for this game, so we'll push him into the defense here. But I think he suffered from not getting a link up with Liam Miller. I do think that taking that link up away didn't make a ton of sense, in my opinion. It's been one of the very bright spots of these games under Marsh, so I don't know why Davies and Miller were separated for this game. I'm not sure if it was they wanted to try something new or what, but yeah, just wasn't a massive fan of that. And Davies looked decent. I'm hesitant to say he was great because I wouldn't say he was, but I don't think he was terrible either. He had some very bright moments when he was able to carry the ball forward and hold on to it. I thought he was very good. The problem was he did get dispossessed a good few times, and sometimes in very important areas too. So, like I said in my last episode, we as a country will always hold Davies to a higher standard. So his decent performance kind of makes it look like, oh, maybe he wasn't that great. I think it was decent, but once again, kind of same for him as everyone else. I think we're going to need just a little bit more against Chile because, like I said, they have quality. And if we want to get out the group, we're going to need our quality players to show their quality. Moving into our midfield, and definitely the weakest they've looked across the board when looking at the stature of competition we faced under Marsh. First, Liam Miller. I don't have a ton to say about his performance, and I've been praising him a lot for his performances under Marsh. I think he's really benefited from this new coaching change, but yeah, just not as involved. Like I said, him and Davies isolated from each other didn't make sense. They just complement each other so well. It's a very strange choice. He got pulled at half for Jacob Schaffelberg, and there was an instant improvement, and obviously we're going to talk about Schaff a bit later. And then looking at the other flank, you have Richie Larea. I assume he started because we know how the Copa America is. It's chippy, lots of fouls, can get heated. Larea is the guy that you want in for that. But then he gets a yellow card in like the 20th minute. And he can't really be baiting players as much as he likes to. He's kind of that player where he'll get under the opposition's skin, win some fouls, drive forward with the ball, kind of, maybe get into it just a little bit, kind of pushing on that side of like, oh, is he going to get a yellow? But when you kind of get a yellow in not even in the first quarter of the game, it's going to really hamper your play, and I think it really did. He didn't look as impactful as I think they wanted him to. He wasn't hugely involved, and it was a pretty quiet afternoon for the TFC man. But I did forget to mention that against Argentina, he did earn his 50th cap with Canada, so that is quite the achievement for someone who 5 years ago was on nobody's radar. So definitely big congrats to Richie Larea. We've always been big fans of you, and yeah, just like I said, wasn't his best outing, but it wasn't anything where it's like, oh, he should never don the shirt again. He was still good. He was at least serviceable, you could say. But yeah, you expect more from someone of his quality. And like I said, I do think that yellow card kind of hampered his play just a little bit and what Marsh would have wanted from Larea. In the center of the park, I think it was another underwhelming performance from Ishmael Kone. He was pulled off at half, and it honestly wasn't surprising. I found there was instant improvement when Osorio came in, but Kone, yeah, he just struggled to make a great impact on the game like he did against France. This happened to him against Argentina as well, and he just really struggled to have any real stranglehold on this match. couldn't really drive forward or progress the ball. Keeping possession was difficult for him as well. He is class and he has a bright future for sure. But right now he's struggling. I still do believe we're getting overrun in the center of the park with just him and Eustachio. I think it's a lot to ask, and I just don't think it suits us at the minute. But maybe Marshall change that. Maybe he doesn't. He may see something I don't. Maybe I'm seeing it differently. I don't know. That's opinions, guys. Everyone's got one, So, yeah, just you expect a little bit more. But also, as of this morning recording, at least, he's gotten the here we go from Fabrizio Romano to go to Marseille. No, I don't want to talk about the fact he's not going to Roma. But I do think it's a great move, and it shows great potential and promise for our number 8. And looking at his midfield partner, our number 7, Stefan Eustachio, I thought he was decent. I don't think he was spectacular, but I thought he played better with the introduction of Osorio and Peru going down to 10 men. He was afforded more time on the ball and able to control possession. He was controlling our tempo in the second half. So imagine that. We have less guys to deal with in the midfield because they go 10 men down, and our midfielder, who needs time and space on the ball to do what he does best, looks better. Now imagine Peru had 11 men, but we had an extra midfielder in there. Maybe it would look a little bit different. I don't know, guys. I'm just saying an extra midfielder I feel like would really help us. I'm just saying. But yeah, it wasn't his best performance in the Red of Canada, but definitely much improved in the second half. And I do think he is still extremely crucial to our team. And apparently there are rumblings of a move for him away from Porto. So we're definitely going to see how that shapes up over the coming transfer window. But moving into our attack, I can't really say much different. I haven't already critiqued our strikers in previous episodes. Larin, the system still doesn't suit him. He did great on the goal to shield the ball and hold it up, find Schaffelberg, and that's really all he did, if we're being totally honest. I love Larin. I think he's great. He is our men's record international goal scorer. He's just not looking great at the moment. And I do think it's a system thing. But yeah, we need to sort it out. If we want a striker that can play with the ball at his feet and carry it, I still think we got to look at Theo Bair. He absolutely deserves to be getting some minutes, especially if our strikers aren't performing. And he is coming off the season of his life. I don't know why he's not playing. Maybe Marsh doesn't trust him yet. Maybe he's just there to be another number, which I think is harsh. He deserves to play. He deserves to at least get a shot. So, I don't know. We don't have Ugbo there because of reasons. So I would say to give Bear a shot. That I don't get why he's not getting in. That half of that game I was sitting there watching it going, why is he not just rolling the dice and letting him go? He can't do any worse than what we've got out there at the moment. But in the end, Larin did play his part in the goal. So, I mean, at least he is able to say that. But, yeah, no, just not really suiting Larin at the moment. And I do think he'll come out of it. I think he just needs time to kind of adjust to the new system that we're playing. And if he doesn't adjust, then I do think that we should be looking to maybe try someone new. And then you look at his strike partner, the man who scored the winning goal, Jonathan David. Definitely wasn't his best overall performance, but he did finally get a goal during an international outing for the first time in a little bit. I do find he lost the ball a lot and really struggled to get into the game. But what I've been saying is our strikers need to take their opportunities when they come. And he did. He really only had one clear-cut chance this entire game, and he does put it away, and it leads to our eventual win. So, as a striker, you're on there to score, and he did score. I do think that he's a better overall player than just well, he scored. But at the moment, once again, I think he's kind of struggling. So, once again, I do think it's a system we're playing, but I'm not getting paid that money to decide on what we should do next. But at least he did get the goal, and I think that'll do his confidence a world of good, and it puts us into a pole position going into our game against Chile. So, big goal from the Iceman, Jonathan David. Looking at our subs, I thought they were actually pretty positive. The 3 subs at halftime, firstly, Kamal Miller for Cornelius. Miller looked a little bit shaky for the first couple of touches that he got. Gave the ball like away twice in a matter of 10 seconds. Passed it to a Peru player who passed it back to him. And then he passed it back to another Peru player who passed it back to him. So definitely a little bit shaky, but after that, he did settle in. I am a big Kamal Miller fan. He looked assured and definitely proves himself again why he's a proper option for us. And he's always been good for Canada in his international career. There is still a place for him in this team. I know at the moment it's Bombito and Cornelius, but I still wouldn't be surprised to see a Kamal Miller resurgence. Looking at a midfielder we brought in at halftime was Jonathan Osorio. Came into the midfield, and I think we instantly looked more settled. Him and Eustáquio looked confident together, and they were helping control our flow. He had some nice passes in behind the Peru defense. He just looked more settled on the ball, kept our possession, maintained it, and really, I think, offered himself as a better outlet for Eustáquio than Kone did. I also thought Osorio kind of was helping to drag Peru players out a little bit to give Eustáquio some more time. That being said, they did have 10 men, so, do with that as you will. But once again, gonna reiterate it, maybe play a third midfielder and we can have, say, Eustáquio, Osorio, and Kone in the midfield, or Piet, or someone else if you'd prefer. Just my opinion, and I'm not gonna stop with it. Until we inevitably do, and then we get 5-0'd. And then I'm just sat here oh, well, I guess I was wrong. But yeah, Oso is one of our most experienced players in the squad. He's been around the squad for a long time, and he's one of the leaders in the squad. So he, once again, always going to have a place for him in the squad, I think, for the foreseeable future. But yeah, I've always loved him. You know that. But looking at Jacob Schaffelberg, he was definitely the main man when he came in. Our most impactful sub, for sure. He was the man who was fouled, and inevitably the Peru player got the red card. He was creating a lot. There has to be place for him in the starting 11 against Chile, I think. He grabs the assist for the goal and probably could have left the pitch with another 2. Peru just couldn't handle him. And he does something every time he comes on. Argentina struggled with him. France struggled with him. Something's always happening when he's coming in. So I would say to maybe give him a start, see what he can do from the off. But yeah, definitely a very great call to bring him on in the second half. I thought he vastly improved our team. And he was having a lot of fun down that left flank and was finding so much joy. Another sub we brought on was Tajon Buchanan. He still lacked a great impact on the game, as we know he can do. He looked lively on the ball, but wasn't nearly as involved as I would imagine he would have liked to have been. So, once again, I'm not sure if it's struggling with the new system. I don't know, but we do need to start seeing the best from Tajon Buchanan. As him being benched for this game, I don't think will change unless he starts performing to the level that we know he can. Tenny Oluseyi got on for the last 10 minutes. Not a ton of time, but he looked good when he came on. He's now cap tied to Canada, having made an appearance at a major tournament. He had one chance. It was quite good. Picked the pocket of a defender on Peru, but just couldn't get the finish off. Looked good. Bright cameo for sure. Looking forward to Chile, They sit on 1 point after 2 games, and as it stands, they're going home if they don't beat us. Whereas we have 3 points after 2 played. A draw does us good, but I never believe you play for a draw. It always bites you in the end. I don't think we'll be able to sit back and defend for 90 minutes against a desperate Chile, knowing that they need to win. It won't be easy, of course. It is tournament football, but it is in our hands, and this is the best position we could have been in after 2 games, I believe. What I think we'll need going into our next game is play on the front foot. When we did against Peru, we looked more likely to score, created more chances. Yes, it was against 10 men, but we were causing problems before that man was sent off once Jacob Schaffelberg came on, so for about that 10 minutes. And he did the same against Argentina. Buchanan has to get more involved if he's going to play. And David's going to have to carry his confidence going into the next game. Davies a few times got forward in this previous game, and every time he does, he is a handful. So keep doing that and do it more often. And like I said, this was not a great performance. Let's be honest. I definitely wanted a better one, but if I could have chosen between an underwhelming performance but a win, or a good performance with just another moral victory but still 0 points, I am choosing the dub all day. Yes, we looked unconvincing and not great, but a win is a win, and that is tournament football. So I do think we need that win against Chile. A draw will get us through, but a win would be even better if we're being honest. We could secure our place into the quarterfinal in our first ever Copa America, because we are always talking about progress and lessons that are being learned with this program. So what better way to show progress and implement these lessons learned than by putting in a big performance against Chile and securing a Copa America quarterfinal spot in our first ever appearance in the competition. But with all this being said, that brings us to a close on this episode of the Maple Footy Podcast. I hope you enjoyed, and thank you so much for listening. I do appreciate it. I love getting to talk about this team. I love these players, and I just see so much potential in this squad. Yes, I'm biased. I am Canadian, but yeah, I see so much potential here. And what do you think our chances are against Chile? Do you think we can get to these quarterfinals? If we get to the quarterfinals, what should we do here on the Maple Footy Podcast to celebrate? It's a huge achievement and calls for something big if we can get there. Comment on here. Head over to my Instagram at @officialsamlittle. I'm still going to be keeping up with the Canadian men's national team until they're knocked out of the Copas, unless we go all the way. You never know. And of course, the Euro watch along at this point is what it seems like it is. The Euro recaps will continue until the end of that tournament. And of course, until next time, cheers, everyone.
And that was your Maple Footy Podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Check my socials for any and all future updates at @officialsamlittle on Instagram, where I am most active. And until next time, live, laugh, little.